Okay, this is an article, Cece and I talked about it, and she feels that reading the information is going to be better than me speaking it because you can do it at your own pace. So this is relatively long, but it's really good information. So it's at that link right there. The QR code will also go there. Split it up at your table. It's like 7.5 pages long, but it's big print. It's not like condensed. But split it up, jigsaw it, so only of you read, and then I'll give you time to share back your jigsaw pieces, and then we'll talk about it a little bit and we're going to go on. But it's important that you understand the stuff that's here before I start talking about the routines. Okay, does everybody understand the assignment? I want you to go there, just split up the reading between whoever's at your table. If you've got 4 people, it's about approximately 2 pages each. If you've got more, it's split it up, read your section, share back your section with each other, and then I'm going to go on and I'm going to do something with the routines and pieces that they talk about in here.
Okay,
So practice your note taking.
สำหรับ activity นี้นะคะก็ขอให้อาจารย์ไปที่ลิงก์ตัวนี้นะคะด้านล่าง bit.ly ตัวนี้นะคะหรืออาจารย์สแกน QR code ตรงนี้ได้เลยค่ะอาจารย์จะเจอเป็น handout เป็น reading 1 ฉบับนะคะแล้วอยากให้อาจารย์ไม่จำเป็นต้องอ่านทั้งหมดใน1ท่านนะคะในโต๊ะของท่านค่ะให้ท่านแบ่งกันว่าใครจะเอาหัวข้อไหนนะคะเสร็จแล้วเราจะทำกิจกรรมจิ๊กซอว์คือว่าอ่านหัวข้อของตัวเองแล้วแชร์กับสมาชิกในกลุ่มนะคะหลังจากนี้เราจะทำกิจกรรมจากข้อมูลใน handout ตัวนี้ค่ะ
You need to be talking at your tables to split it up properly. So one person read like page 1 and 2, second read 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and then you'll share out. So talk to each other who's going to read which pages.
Share out be at your table, not hold.
Share out is amongst yourselves.
When you have finished reading your section, start at the beginning with whoever has the first section and start explaining what was in your section. Remember, you only have to read your section. Could each group give me an indication of how much longer? Like fingers up, I need 5 minutes, I need 10 minutes. What does each group need to finish? 10 minutes? Can all groups be finished within 10 minutes? All right, 10 minutes. Yep, 11:21, we're moving on.
Here you go.
Oh, I hate those. I like to talk with my hands, and I can't do that when I have to. Maybe this will make me speak slower. A true jigsaw, you would have had to have numbered off 1 through 4, or 1 through 5, whatever it is. But the teacher beforehand prepares the material. You'll have the reading material, and you'll decide where the line goes. Number 1 reads this much, number 2 reads this much, so you're in sections. Then you switch it up and you send all the number 1s to one table, all the number 2s to, and the people that are reading that section work together. Then they talk about it and make sure they really understand what their section is about. Then you bring them back to their original table, and person 1 will talk about his section and person 2 will talk about her section. That's a true jigsaw, and it very, very effective. Do any of you use jigsaw right now in your classrooms? I see no's and I see yeses. I would highly advise it. Are you raising your hand? Yes? Oh, okay. No, don't call on me. Okay, so we did not do it traditionally. Trying to condense, I've got so much material. I'm not even going to get what I had for a half day into the half day. So, any questions on your reading? We're not even going to discuss this, but I have Cece has it up over here. I wanted to show you, if you were using this reading excerpt with your students, which obviously you wouldn't be, but if you were, how you would set up note-taking for them to begin with. So you would, and I would do it with them, not ahead of time. I would do it with them. So you'll have them get out their reading material, and you'll start and have them put down the title, The Well-Managed Classroom. They'll put that up at the top. You'll take a piece of paper, you're going to draw a line right down the middle of it. You're going to make like a T-chart right down the middle. On the left-hand side, you're going to put the topics. And so you would put the very first thing, the first thing is if there's any important vocabulary in it that you know of, you would list the vocabulary down the left column first. And you'd just put it on the board, put it wherever, have the students do that. Then once that vocabulary is there, you start just putting in the headings. So you'd put in the well-managed classroom on the left-hand side, and you'd leave a space, teach them how to just leave a space, scroll CC, and then you'd go to the next one. What is classroom management? They'd write that in. And you'd follow through the whole thing, and a very easy way for them to set up how they're going to separate their notes and how they're going to take information in between it. And it gives you control of what you want them to save. So also, when they're going down through it, if you get to there and you don't want them to worry about beginning the year as an effective teacher, you don't want them to even worry about that, you skip it. Just skip it when you're telling them what to put down for their topics. And then you come to the next one, and then you'll go example of an introduction. Does everybody see how it's really easy to set up guided notes for students? You can take the first few minutes of class and do it. You also can do that with a PowerPoint presentation. Someone asked me about it at break, that their students just take pictures. And I said, how you get away from that? You only put very important topics on your slide. And you put the information that you'll see if you go, especially a couple of the slides later on. I don't think there's a lot on today's slides, but when you go and look at the slides, I have my presenter notes there. I have all kinds of information down there. And so you can do it that way and share your PowerPoint with your students so when they get home later they can look at that information. But if you only put main topics, you know your content, you know what you're going to talk about. You know, I don't need the stuff up there for me to tell what I'm going to talk about, but your students will find it helpful to look at it. But if you only put what's main on your PowerPoint slide, that stops them from not listening to you and putting down what you're talking about. Otherwise, they're so busy reading the slide, and that's another thing. You can't read a slide and write about it at the same time. Our brains don't work that way. People talk about multitasking. You cannot do that. So if you have a whole bunch of information up there, they can't read it and write it. So keep it minimal. Whatever you have on your slides, as I said, you know your content. You don't need it up there. They need to be listening to you and taking notes on what you're saying. That we can do. We can listen and write, but we can't read and write. Those two don't work together. Questions on that? So from this activity, I know you learned about routines and things, but I'm hoping you learned how to write guided notes from a lecture or a reading, how to do it, how to use PowerPoint that your students actually will take notes on it and not just take a picture. Taking a picture of a slide with a topic on it doesn't help them at all when they get home. They're still going to have to somehow interact with it. So either you do it with your presenter notes, you give them copies. Here's a link to my presentation from today. And they have to physically go in and look at those presenter notes, or they don't know, and then they can read it and take notes on it. While you're just putting it all up on a slide up there, they can't do it, and that forces them to take those pictures. Questions on that? Yes? Oh, we need part of these. Cece, I need part of these.
From my own experiences, I found that when I set up my PowerPoint, I add just pictures. I'm teaching biology, so I add just the pictures for motivated students to take note. But I found that even though majorities of the students try to take notes when I give them these kinds of PowerPoint, but I found that minors of them like disappear from the class, no enough intention provided for the class, because with that kind of PowerPoint, maybe I think it may be difficult for them to follow the teachings with that kind of PowerPoint. So for this case, do you have any suggestion for me to motivate this kind of student? Do you understand my question?
Well, I do, but are you asking students that aren't showing up to class how to motivate them, or you're asking they just don't take any notes when they're in class?
They don't taking any note.
Then I would start doing something where there is an incentive to take notes. They have to, at the end of the week, show their notes. They literally, people that I have seen give points for note taking is on Friday, they have to come up and walk past you and flip through their pages. You don't have to read them, you don't have to, but they have to have something there. And that's very motivating for students that want to be quality students, not so motivating for students that they're just passive about their learning, but very motivating for good students to just show you. And when I was working on my PhD, I actually had a teacher that did that to us as PhD students because she was concerned that we weren't doing the reading and the whatever we needed to do outside of class. And we literally, once a week, had to just flip through her. We had to hand her a notebook, and she would just page. She wouldn't read a thing, just page through and see that we had something and mark us off, and we got the points for the week. But very motivating for students that just think they don't have to. I was very motivated when I knew she was going to look at it to get it done. So I'm not big on punitive, but sometimes you have to have consequences for not taking charge of your own learning. You wish that it was all in here, but it's not always. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. There's your beads. We can't forget our party beads. Wear them proudly. You are speaking. Okay. So any questions on how to set up the guided notes? Really important that you show your students how to take their notes before. So set it up with your PowerPoint, set it up with this. I'm going to show you a video guided notes. I don't remember what section it's in, but I have a guided notes on a video just so that you experience that also. Important that they know what you want them to learn. And again, this is all about by telling them what topics to put down, they know I'm accountable for that. You don't have to make a study guide. You don't have to do all of those extra things that you have to do. They already know what you wanted them to pay attention to. Okay? All right. That's how far behind we are. Gonna really go fast, I'm sorry, through these slides. You can go back and look at them. There's not really, it's important, but it's just, there's just content on it. They're not any. First day of class, is it supposed to be fun? You have teachers do both ways. The teacher that has fun all day and they didn't really learn anything and you set them up to think, oh, I'm just gonna come in and play every day. Or the teachers that start out with content from the moment they walk into the room and they never learn any routines. They never learn what the class is about, what's going on. So you want to have a mix of both, and you want it to be fun, but you want it to be engaging, and you want them to walk away with something. Well, the thing I would want you to walk away with is, these are the behaviors, these are the routines, this is what's going to happen in my classroom. You can expect this from me, and I'm going to expect this from you, and this is how it's going to be. You want to show your real self on that first day. They need to know that this is the teacher I'm going to see every time I walk into that room. That's my teacher. And you need to be able to reinforce to them, That's the student I'm going to see. These are the routines I'm going to do. I don't have to have rules. I don't have to have discipline because I already know the expectations. I know I need to do this, this, and this. A lot of people associate classroom management with discipline. It's the first thing that comes to mind. It's the discipline, and it's not. Classroom management is about being an effective teacher, instruction, and effective student learning. So I'm going to be effective at how I teach you, and you're going to be effective in your learning. And that's what's going to happen in my classroom from day 1 to day 180. In Wisconsin, we go to school 180 days. This is a middle school teacher, and this is what she shows her students on the first day of school.
Ba 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 banana. Ba 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 banana. Oh, ba 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 banana. Ba 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 banana. Togari no potato rica ni malo manica no chica. Ba ba banana. Yo plano fu la mano no tu. Ma banana la camo pitala mo banana. Ba ba banana. Tocali no potato lica ni malo manica no chica. Ba banana. Narito na. Wimpo! Okay, pivotara. Pomelo?
I'm going to explain how, I happen to know the teacher that uses this, and I'm going to explain to you how she uses it. All right. She stops it. She plays it on the first day of school. She's looking at, this is a middle school teacher, as I said. And so she plays it through on the first day and just kind of sets the tone for these are expectations, this is what. Then she doesn't even do any, because she only has them for, I think she said her periods are 47 minutes or something. She doesn't have very much time, so she plays this. They kind of see that, oh, we're going to have rules, there are expectations, there's something that's going to happen here. And then she goes through all the normal stuff, reads the syllabus, does the textbooks, gets that out, does a first day over. Second day, she does this again, but she stops each time that they do something, and she talks to them about what that routine might look like. What is the routine here? Not this is the discipline and you did this wrong and this is, but what's the routine that we're working at here? The bodily functions. Could be how do we get a drink? How do we use the restroom? What? So she does, and they design their routines and they go through them together. There's some sheets actually in your folder on writing routines and what you need routines for. It's important that you think about it ahead of time. I'm going to need, these are the pieces she needed routines for. So she put it in a fun way, and the students then became engaged in it. I mean, it's fun to watch minions doing stupid things, but it makes it the whole thing of setting routines totally different than we're not going to chew gum, we're not going to use our cell phone, we're not going. That just turns kids off. They don't want to do it. If it's a routine and they know that that's the expectation, that's what's going to happen.
What I heard you say, Deb, was that the group, the class, identifies the
Well,
routine
that's
to
not really-
the teacher is driving them towards that.
No, that doesn't
No?
really work anymore. That
With
was
older
always,
students, that would be the way to do it.
K-12, now that they have moved more into routines and you don't have a classroom plan list,
Yeah.
when, that was always the way. Now that it's more into routines, the teacher has set the routine on what she
Okay.
or he is going to live with, and that's, so yes, we learn it together, they role play it. On the third day, they role play them. And you can, and with middle school and high school, you can do it both ways. I want, you tell these three over here, I want your worst version of this routine. And these three over here, they're going to do it correctly. So on the third day, you role model all the routines. And as Kevin said, it used to be very much that classroom rules, kindergarten on up, were set together. That thinking has changed, and they've moved away from rules and way more into routines, because routines allow you not to have a lot of discipline. Rules are meant to be followed. Routines just happen. This is the expectation. This is how it's going to happen. Questions on that? Questions on how, as silly as this is, do you see how this would be an effective way at middle school, even high school, in introducing routines? And back to what Kevin said, there is some of that also happening in classrooms, but they're calling it norms, and this is the norms for learning in here. And it's no longer, we used to just do exactly as Kevin said. On the first day of school, we decided on our classroom rules, and we would put, when I was in a classroom, I did it every year at the beginning of the year. You won't see that in American classrooms right now. It has really moved past that into routines. Do you agree, Cece? Cece experienced it. She came and was at my university for a year, and we had her in a high school there while she was there, and she got to, you were in a middle school, weren't you?
I'm in middle school and high school.
I can't hear your mic.
At the first semester, I was in the middle school, and then the second semester I moved to high school.
And what was your experience with routines?
It's very effective there. เรื่องนี้ค่อนข้างจะใหม่ค่ะในประเทศไทยเราไม่ได้สอนเรื่อง classroom management กันนะคะอาจารย์เพราะว่าของเราจะมีกฎกติกาให้ follow ใช่ไหมคะแล้วเราก็จะมีถ้านักเรียนไม่ปฏิบัติตามกฎเหล่านี้เขาจะถูกลงโทษอย่างไรใช่ไหมคะสิ่งที่เรามีแต่ว่าที่อเมริกาเขาค่อนข้างจะ concern เรื่องนี้ค่ะเขา move จากคำว่า rule แล้วก็ discipline เป็นคำว่า routine มี procedure แทนนะคะคือสิ่งที่นักเรียนจะต้องปฏิบัติตามเขาก็จะ introduce เรื่องนี้ตั้งแต่วันแรกๆเลยอย่างเช่นว่าที่ห้องเรียนที่หนูไปค่ะเป็นห้องเรียนคณิตศาสตร์นะคะการเรียนคณิตศาสตร์เนี่ยเนื่องจากว่านักเรียนจะต้องมีการแสดงวิธีทำเวลาที่เขาได้เรียนคอนเซปต์แต่ละเรื่องแล้วในปริมาณเราอาจจะบอกว่าห้องเรียนเขาคนน้อยมี25คนแต่ห้องเรียนเราคนเยอะมีนักศึกษา 50-60 คนอย่างเงี้ยเราจะทำยังไงให้เราสามารถที่จะช่วยนักเรียนได้ในระหว่างที่เขาทำกิจกรรมคุณครูที่นู่นค่ะเขาจะมีเป็นกระดาษเหมือนเรามีโพสต์อิท2 สีเวลาที่เด็กทำกิจกรรมระหว่างที่เขาไม่เข้าใจเขาจะเอาโพสต์อิทอย่างเช่นเอาสีชมพูขึ้นมาวางบนโต๊ะแปลว่าเขาไม่เข้าใจนะคะคุณครูมองไปเห็นสีชมพูเขาจะเดินไปหาเลยถ้าใครที่โพสต์อิทที่วางอยู่ข้างๆตัวยังเป็นสีเขียวอยู่แปลว่าเขาได้คอนเซปต์นั้นแล้วอย่างเงี้ยค่ะสิ่งนี้เป็นรูทีนเล็กๆที่เขาก็นำมาเสริมในการสอนก็จะทำให้เราไม่เสียเวลาต้องมาถามว่าใครไม่เข้าใจอย่างเงี้ยค่ะเราก็ไม่ต้องถามเลยเพราะว่ามองไปคุณครูก็จะเห็นแล้วว่าเด็กคนนี้ไม่เข้าใจก็จะไม่อินเทอร์รัปเพื่อนในระหว่างที่เรียนด้วยนะคะนี่เป็นตัวอย่างง่ายๆค่ะอาจารย์ขอบคุณค่ะถ้าสมมุติว่าในระหว่างเรียนนะคะสมมติว่ามีแบบฝึกหัดให้5ข้อค่ะนักเรียนคนนั้นเอาโพสต์อิทสีชมพูขึ้นมาแปลว่าเขาไม่เข้าใจคุณครูก็จะสามารถที่จะเดินไปหาเขาแล้วก็เป็น one on one teaching ได้ค่ะในระหว่างที่เพื่อนยังทำข้ออื่นๆอยู่เงี้ยค่ะขอบคุณค่ะอาจารย์
เหมือนคำว่ารูทีนน่ะเด็กสามารถเลือกที่จะทำหรือไม่ทำก็ได้ใช่ไหมครับประมาณนั้นใช่ไหม
ไม่เชิงค่ะรูทีนคือเป็นสิ่งที่ทุกคนจะต้องทำเป็นประจำในห้องเรียนนี้เรามีรูทีนสำหรับห้องเรียนนี้อย่างเช่นห้องเรียนนี้เรา taking attendance ด้วยการที่นักเรียนเข้ามาแล้วเขารู้เลยว่ามีบอร์ดสำหรับ taking attendance ตรงนี้เขาเข้ามาทุกคนต้องเขียนชื่อนะถ้าคุณมาเรียนแต่คุณไม่เขียนชื่อแปลว่าคุณ absent นะวันนั้นหรือว่าค่ะหรือว่าสำหรับคนที่เรามี procedure สำหรับ absent student ซึ่งในประเทศไทยเราไม่ค่อยมีนักศึกษาจะมาตามงานกับอาจารย์ใช่ไหมคะแล้วก็จะมาถามว่าส่งยังไงต้องทำยังไงเพื่อจะตามงานนี้แต่ว่าที่นู่นเขาจะมีเหมือนเป็นabsent form นักเรียนเข้ามารู้เลยว่า absent form อยู่ในตะกร้านี้หยิบไปเขียนกรอกว่าคุณขาดงานอะไรแล้วก็แนบงานนั้นมาส่งตรงไหนอย่างเงี้ยค่ะเหล่านี้เป็นรูทีนที่เกิดขึ้นค่ะเชิญค่ะ
Cece, you're getting all this action. I can't keep up.
My question is: Are there any chances when student does not or do not follow the routine? What would you do?
Thanks for speaking. There are consequences. There are, and
what kind of consequences?
Can you hear me on here now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Depends on the age of the students.
Okay.
You can hear me? Oh, okay. Depends on the age of the students. Most of the schools in the United States use what's called assertive discipline, and that runs in coordination with having your routines. At the younger, probably through 5th grade, kindergarten through 5th grade, they do a card system. And what this will be is in the very front of the room, there'll be a piece of tag board or something, and it'll have little pockets on it. and every student's name is on the pocket. And when they do something not according to the routines, the teacher usually won't even address it. She will just walk over and put a card down next to them. And it starts out with, you get a white card. Second, you get a yellow card. And last, you get a red card. So if the teacher sets the card down, they just quietly walk up, dump it in their pocket. And they need to end on not a red. So either blank or a yellow. But if they have a red card, then usually the consequences are a call home to your parent, a note to your parent. Okay, if we're talking elementary. Some kind of consequence like that. If it becomes so many reds, and then students are responsible for recording it because it takes it off from the teacher. They have a chart in their, we call them data notebooks, but a chart in their notebook, and it'll have the month on it, and they color in. At the very end of the day, they take 2 minutes at the end of the day, and the teacher says, color your chart. And they go in and they put green if they didn't have anything. They put yellow if they had one card, and they put red. Well, then there's consequences school-wide, usually, if they get 2 or more reds in a month. Very rare, actually, that happens, but in elementary. When you move into middle school has a whole new thing, and almost all schools in the United States now are called what is PBIS. That's the acronym. And if you're looking at discipline it's a positive discipline. They're given rewards and the little tickets and things, and if at the end they have so many, they can change it in for, I know like when my grandson was in 6th grade, he traded in his PBIS tickets to sit on the varsity basketball team's bench. He got to sit on it for a game. He was really excited about it. And so there's a whole list of rewards that they can turn them in for. So again, they don't take anything away. You can't lose them once you win them, but it's a positive, I can't even remember what PBIS stands for. I used to be a trainer in it, but I can't remember what a positive something. But PBIS will find it for you if you look that up. In high school is very more traditional, like what you're used to. You get sent to the office. You misbehave, you don't do what you're supposed to do, they just send you down to the office and the office deals with you. So, and again, they didn't follow the routine and they get sent to the office and they have to go there, and then the principal decides what to do with them. Classroom teachers do very little of their own discipline, 9 through 12. K through 8, they do almost all of their own discipline. And it's all part of the routines. And again, elementary is almost all assertive discipline. Middle school is PBIS. Yes?
PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Intervention Support.
System. Oh, thank you. Is that working again? Okay, better. All right, we're going to have to finish up. I know there is a ton of stuff, a ton of slides here I didn't even get to. It just is taking longer. The conversation has been great, but the language barrier, I know for you guys, is hard. And I'm hard to follow, and I'm hard to keep up with, and I'm trying. That's all I can say. I really do try to speak slower. I just can't. So we're going to have to break for lunch shortly, about 5 minutes. So I have an exit ticket, though, that I want all of you to do. I believe it's one with a notepad today. I got to look. Everything is different always for exit. I'm going to skip those slides and pull it all the way to it there. Yeah, because I had to skip all this routine, how to do routines. Okay. Here's your exit ticket. And there should be a notepad, a larger one, in your basket, and each one of you take one. And when you write an exit ticket, you don't have to write 3 things I learned today. Exit tickets are written very easily with, you take the sheet of paper exactly like that, you put a 3, and then you put a 2, and then you put a 1. So it comes down the side. And then next to the 3, just write your 3 things. Next to the 2, write your 2 things, and next to your 1, write your 1 thing. Very easy, again, assessment of the learning. You can do it. I know teachers that do an exit ticket every class period. Math teachers especially, really good about doing an exit ticket. They have a problem that they have to do, and they have to hand it to the teacher walking out the door. They can't get out of the classroom without turning it in. But exit tickets, very effective. This will tell Kevin and I what was good. A muddiest point, we can address it after lunch that way, if there's something. We have a couple of really good questions up here. We'll address them right when we come back from lunch. Anybody else has a parking lot ticket, that's where it goes. But just write a big 3, a big 2, and a 1, and put your things next to it. You don't have to write my sentence stem out.
So again, this is a good example of metacognition, making you think about what you're learning and how you learned it and what you're confused about.
ค่ะกิจกรรมนี้นะคะเป็นกิจกรรมสุดท้ายก่อนเราไปทานข้าวเที่ยงค่ะให้อาจารย์ใช้โน้ตการ์ดนะคะที่อยู่ในตัวบาสเกตบนโต๊ะของแต่ละกลุ่มค่ะเสร็จแล้วexit ticket ตัวนี้นะคะอยากให้อาจารย์เขียน3บรรทัดไว้คือบรรทัดแรกคือเลข3เลข2แล้วก็เลข1นะคะ3สิ่งที่อาจารย์ได้เรียนรู้ในเช้าวันนี้ค่ะ2อย่างที่อาจารย์คิดว่าโอ้เป็นความรู้ใหม่เลยเป็นสิ่งที่อาจารย์รู้สึกว่าอันนี้แบบน่าสนใจนะคะเป็นสิ่งที่แบบเป็นสิ่งที่เรารู้สึกว่ามันน่าสนใจสำหรับเรานะคะแล้วก็อันสุดท้ายค่ะ muddiest คือสิ่งที่อาจารย์รู้สึกว่ามันยังคลุมเครืออยู่ยังไม่ค่อยเข้าใจเท่าไหร่นะคะเป็น one thing ที่อาจารย์อยากรู้เพิ่มเติมค่ะ
Let me just direct them. All they got to do is put the 3, 2, 1 down.
Okay. ที่อาจารย์เดบแนะนำคือใส่3 2 1นะคะแล้วก็เขียน3อย่างข้างๆเลข3เขียน2สิ่งข้างๆเลข2นะคะถ้าใครเสร็จแล้วก็เรียกได้เลยนะคะเดี๋ยวจะไป
Exit out the door to lunch.
Okay.
Do we know where lunch is?
No. Oh, do you want to tell them that then they give the ticket to me, that's their exit out, and lunch is there.
ค่ะเดี๋ยวก่อนอาจารย์ออกจากห้องนะคะอาจารย์ถือ exit ticket ของตัวเองมอบให้อาจารย์เดบตรงประตูทางออกแล้วอาจารย์ก็ไปทานข้าวได้เลยที่ห้องอาหาร Greenhouse นะคะขอบคุณค่ะ
And we will be back here at 1 p.m.